Welcome to Learn Short and Typing with विकास सर। द हिंदू एडिटोरियल डिक्टेशन हेडिंग इज लाइंस एंड रूल्स। देखो ये आर्टिकल आपका बेसिकली किस बारे में है। जो ये आपका आर्टिकल है, चीफ मिनिस्टर एंड गवर्नर, किसी भी स्टेट को चलाने के लिए एक सीएम की नीड होती है, एक गवर्नर की नीड होता है। जैसे कि आप सब जानते हैं, जो भी कोई भी बिल पास होगा पहले चीफ मिनिस्टर के पास जाएगा, फिर उसके बाद गवर्नर के पास, गवर्नर से आगे जाएगा प्रेसिडेंट, प्रेसिडेंट के साइन होंगे, तभी आपको वो बिल पास हो सकेगा। देखो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि जो चीफ मिनिस्टर और गवर्नर के बीच में कन्फ्लिक्ट हो जाता है। मतलब एक मुद्दा होता है, जैसे कि चीफ मिनिस्टर ने वो मतलब एक बिल को पास करने के लिए गवर्नर के साथ भेजा। भेजने के बाद जो गवर्नर है देखेंगे, सोचेंगे, फिर ऐसे कन्फ्लिक्ट हो जाते हैं कि वो आगे नहीं जा पाते, मतलब प्रेसिडेंट के पास नहीं आ पाता। उसी को लेकर ये आपका आर्टिकल का इसको हम डिटेल में डिक्टेट करेंगे एट द रेट 100 वर्ड पर मिनट। सो बी रेडी, स्टार्ट। Signs signs of a confrontation between Raj Bhavan and the elected government in a state are not infrequent in the country. The onus often appears to be on the chief ministers to avert a constitutional crisis, as evidenced by Pinari Vijayan trying to buy peace with a Mifted Governor Arif Muhammad Khan, rather than pursue a confrontational course over several issues in recent times. One way of seeing these developments is to attribute them to the appointments of those who have been politically active in the recent past as governors and the partisan role they play as agents of the center. However, the problems may have to do with the way they understand their own powers. Constrained by the aid and advice clause in their routine functioning, some governors seem to be using the discretionary space available to them to keep regimes on tenterhooks. A constitution bench of the Supreme Court laid down in 1974 that the president and governor shall exercise their formal constitutional powers only upon and in accordance with the advice of their ministers, save in a few well known exceptional situations. Situations are also illustratively listed. Yet there is the extraordinary situation of some governors are not acting upon request to grant clemency or assent to bills, and in one instance in Tamil Nadu, a reluctance to reserve for the president's consideration a bill that expressly requires presidential assent because of obvious conflict with a central law. Much of the conflict arises due to the constitution itself. It fixes no time frame for the governors to act and contains in Article 163 an unusual power to choose what is in their discretion and what is not, with the courts being barred from inquiring into whether any advice, and if so, what advice was given. The Sarkaria Commission on Center-State Relations recommended no change in this scheme, but it is time it is revisited. While as the linchpin of the constitutional apparatus, governors indeed have a duty to defend the constitution and encourage or caution the elected regime. The impression that governors are not obliged to heed combined advice persists in some areas. At a time when regional political forces are actively seeking to be heard by the center, it may be time that the provisions relating to the governor's role are amended, identifying areas of discretion, fixing a time frame for them to act, and making it explicit that they are obliged to go by combined advice on dealing with bills can be considered. Regarding bills, it is clear that the Constituent Assembly passed by the provision for governors to return bills for reconsideration only on the express assurance that they have no discretion at all. In addition, as suggested by the MM Punchi Commission, ending the practice of burdening governors with the office of chancellor in universities should also be considered. Full stop.